All right, Guardians won last night. Sorry, I had to go down memory lane for a second. Guardians won last night. Guardians win. Big Guardians win. Who'd have thunk it if 2 months ago I would have told you Bo Naylor was going to break this series wide open, or break the season wide open? Guy's been hotter than hell, hotter than a bastard. He breaks it open last night.
He's up to 188 on the year.
Hey, whatever.
You're right. He's batting like 313 or something. Though.
Right, but exactly.
But he's only at 180.
That's how ice cold he was. Because there was a time we're going, the only reason he's here because they have nobody in the system.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's the only reason he's here. They have nobody in we were in a dark place as a populace with the Guardians. And so Bo Naylor last night, I'm watching, it's the bottom of the eighth or top of the eighth, and I'm going, come on, we gotta look, come on, just get some insurance here. Let's go. And then he swings, and it goes right down that line, and I go, this ball game's over. This is fantastic. Bo Naylor just broke this thing wide open.
And that's the difference between Cade Smith with a 2-run lead. I'm like, I don't know. But Cade Smith with a 4-run lead.
That's what
even Cade Smith was like, I'm not he threw 8 pitches in the ninth.
Yes.
They were all strikes.
Yes.
Struck out 2.
Think about how different it was. Yeah, the pressure was off. By the way, real quick, Bo Naylor, because I know you're interested in the splits. We do a lot of nitty-gritty split talk for the baseball guys. It was in the month of May, 196, June, 169, Owen.
Oh, nice.
137 in the month of July.
The Yodeler's going down right now.
Then it was 204, and now, and then 169 again.
Twice.
Still nice.
And 282. He has bloomed right before our eyes.
What? I got one Canadian going this way, I got another Canadian going that way, and I'm over here like, what do you want from me?
Can he start stealing bases like his brother?
We'll see where that one goes now. But it's nice to see that Bo Naylor broke it open. So today, they started asking this yesterday on Afternoon Drive as I was driving in to get ready to do a preview show. And you could tell Nick didn't want to do it, but it turned into it. And it was like, who's got more pressure on him? And I go, that is a damn good question, boys. Because I'm driving in and I go, we'll see tonight. And now you've won 2 in a row. And you have a chance to get the series sweep today, even though it's Tarek Skubal today at 1. By the way, I couldn't help it. Somebody tweeted at me, and I go, who'd have thought that you guys all thought that 1 p.m. games in September wouldn't matter? And here we are, a 1 p.m. game in September, and boy, it matters. So let's take it and run with it as far as we possibly can this afternoon, because who knows how many more of these we are going to get. We got Tarek Skubal going against us today. We got Tanner Bibee going for us today. There's pressure, but I don't know who it's on. I would have to say, because you're the defending American League Central champions. You're the ones who did have the 10-game losing streak, and you're the one who has the fan base who's really upset with the owner. And I got to admit, I don't pay that close of attention to Tigers fans or anything. You know, our rivalries mostly come from football, whether it be college or pro. And then if it's rivalries, I think everybody's a rival with the Yankees. And I think the Dodgers are becoming a rival to the rest of Major League Baseball, especially because, I don't know, Shohei Ohtani just doesn't seem like a good guy, to be honest with you, but that's a totally different question for another day. There was a rivalry at one point haired with the Tigers, and I think it's blooming again. But you're the defending American League champion. A.J. Hinch has been asked about it. We played that yesterday morning. They're the team that's up in the division. I don't know how much last year matters, especially, but I think for fans, there is this whole weird thing that's totally reasonable about how we feel about the owner. So who do you think has more pressure? Who really has more pressure here?
Well, I guess I would have to ask, how many games can we afford to lose and get in? The rest of the way, we have 11 games. Because that, to me, could answer it pretty easily. Because if we can only lose... 1, well, you're talking about the division. I'm talking get into the playoffs, any means necessary, whatever. Yeah, it'd be great to win a division.
Well, but I think that okay, let me go back to this here for a second. If you do make the postseason, I don't know how, I got to see how they line up. How would they line up, Owen, as far as, would you end up eventually playing? You would end up eventually playing if the Tigers were that good and you were that good, you'd end up playing them. But where does that line up?
Right now, the Tigers are the 2 seed. So Tigers have a first-round bye right now, but I'm sure that's going to if you end up knocking it off, I don't know that the Guardians are going to slot into the 2 seed.
Okay, because there's some things I want to make sure that I get right there, and Owen, you got it right in front of you there, so I want to make sure that it's all correct. I would imagine the Tigers don't want to see us in a postseason series.
Yeah, I would bet that.
I mean,
that's a good point.
The third or fourth best record in Major League Baseball since the All-Star break.
And you're certainly not afraid of them.
And
right now, in fact, we'll see what happens today, but you certainly weren't afraid of their best pitcher last year with the season on the line.
There's not a lot of rhyme or reason to a lot of it. I mean, the lineup has been scattershot at times. The starting rotation has been scattershot at times. You've had a couple of obviously really nice outings here with Slade Ciccone and Gavin Williams, but I think there's been just this weird roller coaster that somehow you've been able to pull out games, and it's a team that doesn't, it's a zombie team that doesn't that refuses to die. And I think for the Tigers, you're the ones that are up in the division. So even though the Guardians are technically the defending American League Central champions, as far as making the postseason, I think there's a lot of pressure that's just on the Tigers to just kind of stave it off, because even a nice cushion like that would be 4.5. But at the same time, it's, you lose these 2 games, you don't look good doing it if you're the Tigers. For the Guardians, you win these 2 games, you look great doing it. And now you got this one today. If they get to Tarek Skubal somehow and they beat Tarek Skubal today, I think there's a drumbeat going on here about coming back in this division. I mean, there's still over a week left to go, and you got 11 games left, like you said. Like there's plenty of baseball to be played. You'd have 10 after this, but my God, there's a drumbeat going on here.
Yeah, I just look at it though. If we lose today, the division will seem like it's shot, even though it won't be, it's not like you're mathematically eliminated. And then because you're chasing both Seattle and Boston, the schedules, that I would say we have a little easier schedule than they do, because Boston still has the Yankees, right?
Yeah.
No, they're done with the Yankees. They have Detroit, Tampa Bay, and Toronto, in addition to their one athletics game. Seattle has Colorado, but they also have Houston and the Dodgers. So I know we don't do a lot of schedule game in baseball, but we're all down.
If you're going to do schedule game, this is the time to do schedule.
Yeah, give us 10 games.
Yes.
We're all down to our final 11 games.
Well, we have 11. We're playing a doubleheader on Saturday to make up from a rainout with Minnesota earlier. So that's why Vogt went to this 6-man rotation so that you weren't doing a bullpen day on a doubleheader day, that you also maybe had to do a bullpen day and maybe have a game that you have to use 4 or 5 relievers. Now you're hoping that all of these starters, Parker Messick, who he brought up and has looked really good in his first 4 starts, slots in there, and then he'll have hopefully the unfortunate decision of figuring out who's going to be the starting rotation for a wild card series at least. But let's, we can burn that bridge.
Yeah, worry about it when we get there.
So let's make our decisions here. Who has more pressure on him?
I still think we do.
We do?
Yeah.
We're talking overall for the next week and a half.
Yeah, just because.
Well, they're the ones that are in.
Just because we lose one game. Yeah. We lose one game. It seems like the division is probably shot, and then the wild card gets tough. It's like
very murky.
Now, granted, we can lose a game and still make the wild card. We can maybe lose 2 and get to the wild card. But it's just these teams between Seattle and Boston. We've passed Texas, right?
Right.
But then that brings Texas right back into the fray.
If you lose Texas a shot to at least knock us back.
I feel like we can't afford to lose any ground whatsoever. And Detroit has more wiggle room.
Yeah,
but you're thinking psychology.
Well, I'm thinking emotionally, because I'm an emotional person. But you're right. Like if the Guardians win today, we're going to be on cloud 9. We're going to be excited. But the Tigers can still walk back in the clubhouse and go, "Well, you're still 3.5 games up." Like there's still like 3.5 games with just over a week left to go in baseball. That's a lot. I mean, that is a lot. And there's been collapses before, but it would be the word historical has to be thrown in front of it. And when you put historical in there, like, yeah, there's pressure of not having a historical collapse, but that's why you call it historical, because it usually doesn't happen. And then there's just the fact of, hey, they can still win the division as long as you get into the postseason. That's perfectly fine. So then I think you factor in the pressure. And I'm going to make this an even bigger question. Who's under more pressure? Is it the Guardians? Is it the Red Sox? Or is it like the Seattle Mariners? Like, I think that right now, I mean, the Red Sox, they always have a significant amount of pressure. So I would definitely say that they have more pressure than you do.
The one thing that they hold all the tiebreakers over everyone that's
They do hold the
involved
cards.
in all the wild card scenarios.
Yes.
The Red Sox have the tiebreaker over all of those in the head-to-heads. So that at least gives them some pause. Pressure for a week and a half, the Guardians definitely have it over the Tigers. Pressure for today, though. I think the Tigers have way more pressure today.
Oh, I think you're right.
Than the Guardians do.
I think you're right.
But if you lose this game, it definitely turns the pressure up for the Guardians for those last 10 games up to 11.
The weird thing about baseball is that yesterday was the must-win. I mean, yeah, Jack Flaherty on the mound. He struggled for the most part this year. Yesterday was the must-win. Today, it's like, all right, Tarek Skubal's on the mound. You got one of your best in Tanner Bybee, which, again, he's been a little scattershot in his own right. But you got one of the best in Tanner Bybee going. It'd be great to win today, but yesterday was the must-win that you actually got. 216-474-0092. Well, who does have more pressure? How does it feel with who has more pressure there? Do we have the Guardians? Do we have the Guardians? Do we have the Tigers on the ropes?
Yeah, 100%.
Ooh.
And you win today. If you beat their ace, think about how he has had to live with what happened in that playoff game, the deciding playoff game last year. Think of how that has been on his mind. You're not a normal athlete if you wouldn't obsess about that and think about that. And now, does it start to fester? Because I guarantee you the Tigers thought at this point it would just be about jockeying for position, at the top and seeing what your bye situation is and keeping everybody healthy. Now, I mean, they need this. They need this win. This has the opportunity, man. If they can work him in the first 2 innings, oh boy.
Well, I struggle to say. I just don't like every time you start writing checks, it just seems you can't cash them about them. It's been that way all year. But let me see if our good friends Costa and Jansen and Heather, there's 3 of them there, on 97.1 The Ticket in Detroit. Let's see if they could change my mind.
Okay, it's 4.5 now, John. Where are you at? Not nervous? Are you anxious? How would you describe your emotions? Like yesterday,
mad.
we were annoyed.
I'm just mad. We wanted a good outing by Jack Flaherty. Did we not get a good outing by Jack Flaherty?
Solid.
And so we're like, okay, he gets through 5 and punches the last one out after Chris Fetter comes up, and I'm mad that it's not over. I was frustrated. I was annoyed yesterday, and today I'm just angry.
Skubal on the mound today, I think, is the saving grace for people. But if they lose the Skubal start, if they're swept by the Guardians, if the lead is down to 3.5, if this continues the way it's going, Detroit's currently 5-9 in September. If they lose today, 5-10 in September. Like, now we're starting to use the C word. Now we're talking about a collapse.
So they're starting to think about collapse up there in 97.1 The Ticket in Detroit. That's Jim Costa and Jim Jansen, and I don't know Heather's last name. I apologize. We're on at the same time. They're saying collapse. If you do win today, I think 3.5. 3.5 is still chunky with not 10 games left to go. 3.5 is still a bulk that they have to jump into. Now, you're getting ready to take on Minnesota after this. Who do the Tigers have after this? Do you know right off the top of your heads? Mitch, if you know, just say it into the microphone. I'm watching tape over here, so I can't see it in the chat. The Guardians have to keep their goals right in front of them. Now you got Detroit kind of looking in the rearview mirror.
Detroit has Braves this weekend, and they come to Cleveland, and they end up in Boston.
Okay, so, I mean...
They've got 2 playoff-looking teams and the Braves.
So they could technically help us?
Boston could help us?
No, Detroit at the end.
Yes.
Boston's in front of you.
If Detroit ends up, if we end up dropping 2 of these games to Detroit, it's probably over in the next 4 with the division, right? But if those are the only 2 games they lose and they go out and do something against Boston, they could end up helping you, yes.
Okay, they could end up helping you there. So they're right in front of you there. More importantly, though, or not even more importantly, because the most important thing is getting to the postseason. Does it feel like there's a rivalry reigniting again? Because you do. I don't think so yet.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so yet.
Because remember when they were in their other iteration, when they were throwing all the money they could to try to win for Illich. That was the big thing. Like, there was a rivalry.
In my previous life, I got into it with a Tigers fan leaving the ballpark.
We're talking
years
like
ago.
Mid to late 2000s, right?
Yes. that was a rivalry. This still doesn't feel. These are two teams that I think are battling for the top of the division, so it naturally should cause a rivalry. But I don't know. And I know what happened last year in the postseason too, but I'm not sure if it's just a rivalry yet.
Oh, I think both teams are looking for a rival, and this is the clear-cut, hey, a true rivalry that's not like, everybody's a rival with the Yankees because nobody likes the Yankees. Mm-hmm. The Red Sox to that same extent, right? We have one with Toronto, kind of, because it's a more of a fan rivalry than a team rivalry.
Well, yeah, because they come down and they leave the place a mess and they act like asses when they're down here.
But this one, especially because this is the same reason that you want the Pirates, you want the Guardians and the Pirates to be in the same division. So for proximity's sake, right? And just the natural football hate between the two cities. Detroit, man, it's a 2-hour drive or less, depending on what time you get on the turnpike and how quickly first pitch is, and you got to be there on a Friday night.
Detroit's a weird city. You're right about that. Detroit is a very weird city because it's like selective times on when they're a rival. You're right about the Tigers there in the 2000s. And then you get like the Pistons every now and then, like when LeBron was first coming up. Like,
and I think they have a chance. I think we have a chance to ignite that again.
Especially with Biggerstaff being there right now.
But it's like, the Lions, like I can't meet it. I don't know if I've met a Browns fan that doesn't like the Lions. Like, doesn't feel some sort of like, all right, like we're struggling.
There's a kinship there.
There is a kinship there. Plus the Battle of the Barge, you think that would be a blood battle, but it's not. I think that there's a lot of folks that kind of like the Lions. I'm just not feeling rivalry yet. Now, if you go and you beat them and you actually take the division and they're freaking out, then I think you start to cause something there. But maybe it's also we're on the road. Maybe something has to be at our doorstep. Like if I see a bunch of Tigers fans in the stadium next week and you are tied for the division or you are a game back of the division or something like that, then maybe I'll change my tune by next week. Like I'm not saying it's impossible. I think it's just so much harder in baseball than it is with the other ones because it seems like we're all hating the Yankees. I think we're starting to hate the Dodgers. I think we're all hating the Red Sox. You mentioned a little bit with the Blue Jays fans, but not really between the teams.
The Astros, people hate them because of the cheating thing.
Yeah, but there's not. But again, that's a universal thing. Like we hate the Steelers. There's people who don't hate the Steelers. I
guarantee you next week there will be more Tigers fans here than you think there's going to be.
Oh, no, I think there's going to be. Yeah,
and that's mainly because, dude, I don't know how much time you spend in Toledo, but the last 3 years I spent a ton of time there.
Well, I think there's plenty.
Way more Tigers fans than I ever expected to be in Toledo, and they have the AAA team. It's a closer ballpark for them to get to.
I totally agree. I totally agree. I think there will be a lot more gray Tigers jerseys than we think. Maybe a Bobby Higginson jersey.
Oh, you'll see some Kirk Gibson.
You'll see some of that too. Yeah,
but that's what baseball needs. They need more. The whole sport can't revolve around Yankees, Red Sox, and then Dodgers. Yeah. It just needs so much more than that. So if they can pick up two teams in the Midwest that are this close, that can really start to have animus towards each other, and then the stakes have to be high. We've always said about like the Steelers, Browns, they're never both great at the same time. It just never happens.
But it's also
Cubs and Cardinals were a great rivalry. It's kind of dead right now because the Cardinals aren't good. The Cubs weren't good for a while. That one's not the same as it used to be, but
you lived in that because your dad was a Cardinals fan.
That was a huge anything Midwest, especially because those fan bases take a lot of the cornfield baseball fans, right?
Yes.
This is something that you can get. You can get the Rust Belt baseball fans right now.
It's also where I think that we're playing with house money here, which is weird because you're 3.5 back and you need every single win. I thought last night was the one that was the must win because they don't have much confidence in Jack Flaherty, and rightfully so. He hasn't been very good this year at all. And he did have a pretty decent outing last night in that clip we played from 97.1 up there in Detroit. Yeah, they're right about that. He did play pretty well. He did pitch pretty well last night. But last night was the one, it's like, all right, we got Gavin Williams. We've bumped these guys up a day each. Gavin Williams should be able to get Jack Flaherty, okay? Yeah. If you can't get, and I know Jack Flaherty's had a good career too, but you can't, damn it, we're talking about guys wanting to be aces here. Like, you got to go get him. Tarek Skubal's a different animal. I mean, Tarek Skubal's probably a Cy Young guy this year.
Right, but last night, you're right, was a must-win because if they lost last night, the window's on the verge of being shut. Right now, if they lose today, that will suck, but it won't shut the window on winning the division.
Jeff in University Heights, you're next up on the Fan. Hello.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. I wish you guys would have heard the clip, too, prior to the one you played, because I was listening to them this morning.
How damn dare you?
Well, I didn't listen to the whole show, Ken. I just like hearing what the other side has to say, especially when my team wins.
Fine.
I like one-sided.
That's why I love listening to 93.7 last year after that Thursday night game, but I digress. When they called us schmucks. But, yes, I think there's a rivalry there. And to your point, I hate the Dodgers more than anyone. You know, it kills me how people talk about, oh, the Dodgers are so great. Yeah, you got $1 billion payroll. You should be great. But if you run Detroit down, especially if you beat them today, and they're going to really start gripping because you hear their shows and their post-game shows after the game, their fans are gripping. So if you beat their ace today and pull within 3.5, then the pressure is all on them, and they're going to really start gripping then, and the rivalry will really be back.
I agree with you. I also think that when the rivalry comes to the doorstep here, or when the fans come to the doorstep, Jeff, thank you very much for the call. I shouldn't have said damn towards him. Jeff's a pastor. I'm sorry about that, Jeff. But when the series comes back here and you see Tigers fans and it's here at your stadium, I think that's when the rivalry will reignite. I think that we're on the cusp of it. I like that the two teams that are closest to each other, I just don't know if I'd feel it as close, unless there was like a brawl or something like that with the Royals or with the Twins or White Sox or something. This is in close proximity. It's the same time zone, for crying out loud. There would feel like you would have a natural thing. You're right across the lake from each other. You look from each other from around the corner. So it would feel like there's something there that you could dig into, sink your teeth into. So I think that next week, if you win today, certainly. But I think that next week would be the time when that happens. But both teams have to take care of their business. The Guardians have to take care of their business against Minnesota, and they got the Braves coming up next week as well.